Yeah, what's going on, everybody? Welcome. I'll leave it because Jake has probably already got me framed up there. I'm not gonna touch it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Stochastic.com NBA Strategy Show presented by Bet365. 8-game slate today, coming off a 13-gamer, ton of back-to-backs. When I did the run sheet this morning, I always put the injuries in, and I think 8 teams, I was just like, everyone probably still out. Didn't even bother listing them. I'm Dave Loughran at Lafayette_D on the Twitters, joined by Adam Scherer at Ship My Money DFS. 8 games, man. I feel so much better about this.
Yeah, I was really happy last night when I saw that it was 8 games and not 13 or 15 or anything in that ballpark.
How you feeling today?
Good. I've had a productive morning. It's really unusual.
What'd you do?
I've worked out. I've showered. I've put Manscaped on my balls. I've had a good morning.
Really, dude? You're getting it. You're growing up, man.
Yeah, I randomly woke up at like 3:45. Couldn't go back to sleep. So around like 6, I was like, screw it. May as well get up and do something.
You want to talk about a productive or interesting morning? Let me tell you what happened to me. So, wake up at 6:30. Couldn't fall asleep last night. It was like so hot upstairs. Couldn't fall asleep. Don't fall asleep till like 12:30. Wake up at 6:30. Josh recommended to me that I get this auto sleep app. I told you about this, where you have your watch on and you sleep, and it like tracks your heart rate and everything and your respiration and everything. So there's one thing that says readiness, like for the day. There's optimal, there's, great, good, okay, bad, and then there's one that just says rest, right? like don't get out of bed. So I get up, I look at it, I'm walking down the steps, and it's dial pinned to the bottom. It just says rest. Dude, I fucking fell down the steps this morning. I fell down the steps. My wife is sitting there watching me. Right down the steps. I looked like a chalk outline from a homicide scene in Baltimore once I hit the ground, Adam. And she's like, your leg got stuck on the top step and you just dragged the other foot down. I laid there for like 10 minutes thinking I tore a ligament. So I'm just laying on the bottom of the steps, super embarrassed. I look at her, I'm like, honestly, this has happened before. I think a ghost pushed me because I was so embarrassed. So I just went with got pushed by a ghost, laid there.
Naturally, a story that you go to when you're embarrassed is getting pushed by a ghost.
Yeah, because it's not my fault.
Right. It's the ghost's fault, obviously.
When my daughter was 1 month old, I was walking down the steps with her and I fell down the steps. I slipped down the steps with her in my arms.
Did you fumble her?
Went like this. And something pushed me. It didn't. But yeah, fell down the steps this morning, laid there, looked like a dead man. The leg was actually turned out to the side. And then I was like, I put the run sheet in. I got to be productive. Because how if you're operating on little sleep, the only thing to fix it is to like move around.
Yeah.
So I take the dog for a 2-mile walk, come home, 2.1, by the way, come home, crush 6 cold meatballs with bang bang stir fry sauce drizzled on them, and I'm ready to rock.
There you go.
Yeah.
I also wrote my baseball article at 7 this morning, which I was hesitant to do because I don't want anybody that is an employer of mine to get the wrong idea about what I'm willing to do in the morning. But got that out at 7 a.m. for the early, because baseball locks at like 1, so got that out.
Feels great though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it feels really weird that I've been awake. Like I've been out of bed for 4 hours already. I've been awake for like 7.
It's amazing.
6.
Wait, what? Okay, hold on. So you just did coke all night?
I just woke up at like 3:45 and couldn't go back to sleep.
What time did you go to bed?
I don't know, like 10:30, 11.
Oh, okay. So you're functioning on like sub 5 hours of sleep.
Yeah, but I worked out, so I have energy. I on my second cup of coffee. I'm good.
That's not what kind
I will crash at like 3. But
what kind of workout did you get in?
Just lifted.
Nice. I'm saying like push day, pull day. What are we doing?
Chest and shoulders. Chest and shoulders.
All right. Nice. Well, we're ready to go. I think I have a torn ACL, but we're ready to rock. My groin's all banged up, but yeah, dude, my foot got, so the steps where you have like 4 and then a landing and then the long flight, a landing and then the other 4.
Yeah.
This was on the bottom 4 and then the hardwood floor at the bottom. My left foot got caught on the top and somehow my ass hit the ground before my foot unlocked from the top step.
It was nice of the ghost to at least let you get down the long part of the steps.
So I was thinking that he pushed me from the right shoulder, which is why the left leg got hung up. But yeah, she's just like, oh, I was really expecting her to go, "You're an idiot." But she goes, "Oh my God, are you okay?" That's when I noticed it must have looked bad, because normally she'd just be like, "You're a moron. I bet you were on your phone,"
Right.
But no, wasn't. But I'm looking at the sleep app telling me to get rest and just tumble down the steps. But I feel better now. And I hope you guys are doing well. Hit that thumbs up if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment down below. And if you're listening in podcast form, we know you're out there. We see you. We appreciate you. Leave a rating, review, all that good stuff. Helps us greatly. Tell your friends about the pod too. We still got plenty of basketball, and the postseason is going to be awesome. So what's up?
I was going to say it, but Kevin Watkins said, "Dave, are the Sudafed sales up in your area?"
Nah, man. Listen, you're on Sudafed. You ain't falling down any steps. You're just running up like the Rocky steps a bunch of times.
Fair.
You're not falling. Yeah, we're in business. But yeah, so 8 games. The only downside to this one, man, is there were 13 games yesterday.
Right.
So many teams are playing second leg of a back-to-back. So many teams we don't have injury reports on. So many teams that might just decide to rest players because it's a second of a back-to-back with less than 4 days to go in the season.
Yeah, I mean, I have the official 9:30 injury report up, and it's basically just it lists what teams are playing, and then it's just blank.
Right. Yeah, just a lot of white in there. So
yeah,
there's not a lot going on. But yeah, hit that thumbs up. Let's get into it. We'll do the best that we can here. 8 games. And join our chalkboard. We crushed yesterday, dude. I was super overweight on Şengün overs. They just kept popping up on Odd Shopper. I already loved the over 27.5. He got there with 3 minutes to go in the third quarter, so I could, kind of sweat-free night. But we had a fun night over there. We gave away 5 free monthly Bet Pro subscriptions. A little trivia, a little sports trivia action. Greg comes in hot with a massive typo and spells the first one wrong, but we got there, man. And we're going to be doing a lot of those. It's totally free. All the picks are free. We're up over almost at 1,200 members. So if you haven't joined yet, please do. The app is free. You can sync your sports books. The box scores are already built into the app. It's just, we've been having a ton of fun. It's a lively community and a supportive one at that. Everything will always be free. It's not like a free trial. Everything's always free. We're just trying to build an awesome community for betting and for DFS all in the same spot. So jump in. And if you know some stuff about DFS, you can even help the sports bettors out who are kind of chomping at the bit to get in on little DFS too. So yeah, Steven, my house might need an exorcism.
One other non-basketball related note, Grayson Rodriguez Day today for those who observe.
What's that?
Grayson Rodriguez Day, making his major league debut for the Orioles today.
Nice. Okay. For those who observe.
Yeah.
The only horror movies that scare me are like satanic devil movies.
Yeah.
Demon movies.
Yeah. I'm not big on like horror movies in general, but like gory ones don't scare me. They're just like usually dumb and
fun.
Gory. Yeah. But
like Rob Zombie movies are the best.
But like the first Paranormal Activity scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, that was a good one.
The original Exorcist, like, obviously doesn't age that well because, like, graphically it looks ridiculous now. But, like, I can still, like, picture how that would have been terrifying to me in, like, the 70s or whatever.
Especially since it was, like, apparently real.
Right. And in Baltimore, I think.
You know what?
Or DC.
You know what else was real? Was that Baltimore, really?
It was either Baltimore or DC. It might have been, like, Georgetown.
You know what else was real, like they say was real and is horrifying? The one that really got me, The Conjuring, man. That one.
I don't think I've seen it.
Oh, dude. Because
I kind of stopped. I liked horror movies a lot when I was a kid, and then I kind of just stopped watching them.
I haven't watched many. If an intruder breaks into my house, I'll shoot them. I can't shoot a demon.
Right.
And I used to get really bad sleep paralysis. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but I get locked up. I used to get it like once or twice a week. And it was so bad. It would be a figure from maybe my house is on it. Or maybe I'm just possessed. There'd be a figure that would be standing in a corner. And you can look up sleep paralysis. Everyone has the same experience, which is nuts. Like for people that do DMT, once they blast off, they all see the same thing. I would see this figure come towards my bed and it just like hovers over you. Not fun, man.
Yeah, that's not a good time. And The Exorcist was the Georgetown neighborhood of DC. So not Baltimore, but local.
Daniel Alfred, shoot demons with holy water. Yeah, you could do that. But yeah, like you can't, that's what scares me about that stuff is you can't see them. You can't get rid of them, you know? And like, what if they are real?
I mean, I think you've proven this morning that they are.
That was a ghost. He was just upset.
What's the difference between a ghost and a demon? Just temperament, right?
I don't know. All right. Jacob said, yeah, the Exorcist based Cottage City, Maryland.
Okay. I don't know where that is.
Let's talk a little basketball here. We'll get into this one. Yeah. And Daniel or Andrew, the Conjuring, that like there is the Conjuring house. It's still out there. I wouldn't go in it either. Like that's one thing I don't tempt fate with. Like I'm not, whether I believe in that or not, I have no interest in going into like, demonically possessed houses and taunting whatever's in there. I'll leave that to the YouTube videos.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know where this is, sort of.
New York Knicks, 8.5-point favorites against the Indiana Pacers today. So all right, Adam, let's go. You ready?
Yeah, I was reading about The Exorcist, but yeah,
I know. That's why I got to get you. I got to bring you back to earth here. All right. With the Knicks, though, no Julius Randle. But then also RJ Barrett. They said he was going to play, but and you can maybe tell me from the injury report. Is he still questionable on the 9:30 injury report?
Yeah, he's questionable.
They're one of the few teams not on a back-to-back today. But just curious how we approach this team, knowing that you see Brunson without Randle, not games, but minutes, because Randle hasn't missed only a couple games now. 33% usage, 30% assist rate, like big minutes. There's Jalen Brunson has already had a fantastic season, but man, without Julius Randle, his numbers are excellent. He's playing high 30s in minutes in competitive games. Are you willing to get to that price point today?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a pretty close to a correct price point. I mean, 9,200 is a healthy price tag, but he's been playing big minutes all season long and now certainly could play more. He played 39 last game. Maybe they just have him out there more, because he's clearly the key piece to their offense. But you do get increased usage, like you said. They'd even asked Thibodeau last game, I think, sort of something along the lines of needing to change the offense with Randle out. And he said, not really, because it's Jalen Brunson's offense anyway. Which, obviously is a really big compliment. And then you're just getting Brunson able to call his own number even more, but still get, still playmaking as well. So probably going a little bit over-owned at the increased price tag, but it is a really good matchup. It's still a really good player. It's a price tag that also might not end up mattering quite as much just because we do have so many teams on back-to-backs. You could very easily get a situation where it's not difficult to pay 9,200. So I still think he's going to look good here.
Anybody else? Well, again, with Barrett, this actually is noteworthy if Barrett ends up not playing here. Brunson's even more valuable in that case. And then last game, we saw Quickly start alongside Brunson. And that what was the starting line? Mitchell, Brunson, Quickly, Grimes, and was it Toppin?
You said who started? Yeah, it was Toppin.
Yeah. So that's the last game, and they pulled ahead late. But Brunson played 39, Robinson played 26, Quickly played 37, Grimes played 41 in that game, and Toppin played 33. So interesting looking team just in the event that Barrett is out today, because outside of Josh Hart, I guess Hartenstein played 22, but that's just Mitchell Robinson's minutes. There weren't a lot of bench minutes to go around at all.
Yeah, and I mean, there normally aren't with the Knicks, but the Barrett news is big. If he's in, he looks pretty good at 6,200. That's just a cheap price tag for somebody that is likely to play big minutes and have a bigger role offensively. They've talked about Josh Hart getting minutes at the 4, and so whereas when Julius Randle is in, you're getting all of the minutes at the 4 between Randle and Obi Toppin. Now you're getting Obi Toppin starting, Josh Hart getting minutes behind him. If Barrett's in, that does likely open up more minutes for him in addition to increased usage. If he's out, you probably get Quickly starting again. He is $7,800. He is also likely to play big minutes. So, you can take shots on him, but I would still prefer Brunson, but he would look better. Also, if Barrett's out, it is a potential positive for Josh Hart. We only got 26 minutes from him last game, but certainly has the potential to play more. And then one other thing that's interesting from the last game is we ended up getting 33 minutes from Obi Toppin. My expectation was that you were going to get like mid-20s from him and that Josh Hart was going to close the game. We didn't see it happen in this one, But we did see it happen in the first half. So in the first half, Obi Toppin played 9 minutes in the first quarter, didn't play at all in the second quarter. Josh Hart played the final 16 minutes and 47 seconds of the half. Then we saw in the fourth quarter, Obi Toppin play well. He didn't leave the floor the entire second half. So I still don't really know exactly what to make of his playing time. I think you're kind of going to get a hot hand situation where if he's playing well, he can certainly top 30 minutes. If he's not, he might play like 22 and you're seeing more minutes go to Hart. But also if Barrett's in, I think it makes Toppin a little bit riskier as well, just because it's even easier for Josh Hart to take those minutes away from him if Barrett's in.
Okay. Fair enough. Last question. If Barrett sits, Quentin Grimes is expensive. He's 6,500 now, but he's been really good and he's playing a ton of minutes. Would 6,500 be too much if Barrett sits? It's a good matchup too.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good matchup. He has been playing well. I still have trouble doing it. Like, the minutes should be there, but they don't have to be. Like, kind of like with Toppin, you got those 41 minutes from Grimes. There are some ways this plays out where Hart steals some minutes from him, or, McBride plays in the second half and steals a few minutes. And at 6,500 for Quentin Grimes, you really need all of those minutes. He played about 17 first half minutes. If you get 34 minutes from him, you're probably not really thrilled at 6,500. Overall, without Randall on the floor this year, he's played 229 minutes, 0.84 DraftKings points per minute. He is playing big minutes. He has had some very big games recently, but with or without Barrett, I'm scared off by that price tag. Certainly not going to it if Barrett's in.
Yeah. What's his per minute with Randall and Barrett off?
So he was at 0.84 with just Randall in 229 minutes, I think it was. If you take them both off, 165 minutes, 0.85 DraftKings points per minute.
So nothing really changes all that.
Yeah. Usage rate goes from 18.5 and 19.5.
Okay. Let's talk about the Pacers then. I'm not going to make a state. I'm not going to assume that this is the case, but if I had to guess, not really sure why Miles Turner would play again this season, given that he's missed a handful of games in a row. I don't think he does. Our projections don't have him in right now either. Makes sense. What do you and Tyrese Halliburton and Chris Duarte are out as well, as we know. Is there anybody that you like here today, like Jalen Smith, Jackson, assuming Turner's out? You had talked about this being a weird center rotation where you don't really know what's going to happen from day to day, but what do you make of the Pacers today against the Knicks?
Pretty favorable price points. Not the best matchup, but you have 4 guys here pulling double-digit ownership. You have 3 more guys between 7 and 8% on DraftKings, and it's just because they're so inexpensive. Isaiah Jackson, 4,400. If he starts at center, that's a very reasonable play. It's not safe. I mean, you could certainly get a rotation like last game where Jackson starts and plays 21 minutes and Jalen Smith plays 27, but you're expecting 48 minutes combined from those 2 guys. So it makes it likely that one of Isaiah Jackson at 4,400 or Jalen Smith at 5,300 with power forward eligibility ends up being a good play. TJ McConnell's down to 5,400. He only played 19 minutes last game, but you're frequently getting mid to upper 20s from him. He's a good point per minute guy. There is the risk that they just kind of scale his minutes back because it's TJ McConnell and they want to get more minutes for young guys. But, at 5,400, there's still certainly a ceiling there. Buddy Hield's only 5,200. He's been playing off the bench, so you're not getting the same playing time from him. But at 5,200, if he happens to play 26, 27 minutes, he could certainly get there. So there's not a lot that I'm confident in. Mathurin, Neesmith, Wara all getting a little bit of ownership as well. There's not a lot that I'm confident in, but they're all just so cheap that it's kind of hard for none of them to have a good game.
Do you feel any type of way about Brooklyn today going up against the Pistons? Now, with the Pistons, I'm just assuming these guys remain out. I don't know about Bagley, but everybody else I would assume to be out who's been out. 220.5 total though. Brooklyn 10.5 point favorites, and essentially what you're getting again is just pretty expensive Dinwiddie and Bridges, but they've done essentially everything for this team, and everyone else is just taking a backseat role, right? Like O'Neal and Cameron Johnson's been fine, but that price point isn't exactly going to get you excited. DFS, we know what we're getting from him. And then Claxton's just a great shot blocker, can give you that points, rebound, double-double. He's north of 7K. It is a good matchup, but are any of these price points going to jump off the page at you?
No, I think they're pretty much correct. I wouldn't say they're overpriced. I think you can certainly still play Dinwiddie, Bridges, Claxton, Cameron Johnson. All of those guys are fine. They just don't stand out as like glaring values. But for example, you had Jalen Brunson at 9,200 pulling 22% ownership, twice the ownership of Spencer Dinwiddie at 8K. That's certainly a reasonable pivot, even though ownership agnostic, I prefer Brunson, but getting a 2-to-1 ownership discount and saving $1,200 to Dinwiddie certainly would make some sense. We know Bridges is going to play big minutes and likely be the leading scorer on this team. Played 40 minutes last game. The upside for him is really nice. Claxton and Cameron Johnson both look okay at their salaries as well.
Where are the Nets sitting in the? It's amazing that the Nets are 6th in the East.
Yeah.
And this is an important game too, because
they're a game up on Miami.
Yeah, the Miami Heat are 1 game behind them. So the last thing you want to do is have to get into or drop into the play-ins when you could be sitting in the 6th spot and lock up your playoffs. So I only say that because when you're talking about the minutes that these guys are playing, no reason for them not to play, continued extended minutes, unless, of course, this game gets out of control, which is entirely possible because, well, we can talk about the Pistons. They are, a dreadful basketball team, and they're probably still going to see a decent amount of ownership today. I don't know where you stand on this, but I mean, if Bagley, let's see, Bagley had the concussion. So who knows? Like he might be out. Everybody else, Stewart, Magruder, Bogdanovich, Burks, I just assume that they're out, right? So in the event that these guys all sit, including Marvin Bagley, do you agree on the ownership to Jalen Duren, who played 36 minutes last game? Absolutely monster performance at his price.
If he starts, yes. They started him alongside Wiseman yesterday. I didn't know that was something that you could even bother trying, but they did. Wiseman played about 30 minutes. Duren played 36. And it's not like Miami was going, they didn't go with the Kevin Love starting lineup. They went with Strus instead of Love. So it's not like it was necessarily, a matchup specific thing. I think it was just we're the Pistons and we don't care. So why not?
Yeah.
So if they do it again today, if Duren is starting at 5,100, he looks very good. Now, you can certainly say he doesn't look 47% good. He has a 24% chance of being optimal right now. He is center only, where there's always going to be opportunity cost, but he would obviously look like a very good value if he starts. Similarly, James Wiseman looks like a good value as well. And he does benefit playing time-wise from Duren starting next to him, because when Duren's not starting next to him and you're just expecting 48 minutes combined, it creates a situation where if Duren plays 25 minutes, you're only getting 23 from Wiseman. Whereas if they're starting next to each other, then clearly they are willing to play them alongside each other, and you can get a bunch of minutes alongside each other like we did. So it's good for Wiseman's playing time if Duren starts. It's great for Duren if he starts. So both of those guys make sense. Killian Hayes played 42 minutes yesterday. He's $5,800. You're not expecting 42 minutes again, but low to mid 30s at that price tag is still going to look pretty good. So all three of those guys make sense. Jaden Ivey's more appropriately priced, but still certainly gives you tournament upside at 7,100 as well.
I just realized midway through the fourth quarter, the Pistons were leading that game.
Yeah. Miami kind of ran away with it at the end, but Miami went on an 11-0 run from like the 5.5 minute mark of the fourth quarter, and then an 8-1 run basically to close the game. But other than that, it was a pretty competitive game.
That's a great point you make, though, on the fact that them starting alongside each other, like maybe it hurts a little bit as far as contending for boards go. Sure. But now you're talking about a situation where, like, yes, Ivy was on the court at times that Wiseman wasn't. I'm not Ivy, sorry. Duren was on the court at times that Wiseman wasn't, and vice versa. But now, I mean, was it just Omarori getting all those backup minutes?
So, Duren was still the backup center. He was just also the starting power forward or center, however you want to phrase that.
Right. I mean, Omarori, I was wondering, like, when Duren was out.
Oh, it was Omarori
playing at the 4 when Wiseman was out there at the 5.
Right. If Wiseman wasn't on the floor, Duren and Omarori were. If Duren wasn't on the floor, Wiseman and Omarori were.
Right. Okay. That's good. And you get some protected minutes there too in the event that both of them start. So Yeah.
Right, yeah, because it's not like they had like a third center that they brought in and were like, oh, this is going to be the backup, and we're still going to play these guys 26 minutes. They just went from combining for 48 minutes to combining for like 65.
That was the first thing I looked at was like, did they have a guy off the back of the bench come in and play backup minutes?
Right.
They didn't. So was it just a 3-man rotation at the 4 and 5?
Yep.
That's interesting at those price points. Do you like Wiseman then, or is this more of a Duran thing?
Yeah, I like Wiseman too. I prefer Duran just mostly because he played more minutes yesterday, but like I don't think there should be a 2-to-1 ownership gap here. Right. They're basically the same price. And if Wiseman played 34 minutes today and Duran played like 28, that shouldn't shock anybody.
Anything else for Detroit?
No. To reiterate, if Duran does not start, like if they go to Omarui starting today, Duran and Wiseman are both still interesting tournament plays because they're so cheap. But in that case, you shouldn't play them together, and they both just become riskier playing time wise because it makes it more likely that they play around 48 minutes instead of 66.
And also, all of this is just operating under the assumption that Bagley is definitely out.
Right. Yeah, that goes hand in hand with Duran starting. And also, this is operating under the assumption that we don't get like Killian Hayes ruled out and
Right.
Like, there's always the potential that by the time this game starts, you have like Roden and Boeheim as potential plays.
Good call. Toronto, Gary Trent Jr. questionable, but we got everybody else back here, so he's the only spot we're waiting on. Raptors in another spot. I don't know, like if you're the Raptors, right? You'd still prefer that 8 over the 9, right? Where you only have to win. It's one game, right? They have to win 1, and then the 9 would have to win 2 to beat them.
Yeah.
So that may not seem all that important, but it is. They are tied 7. They're tied in the win and loss column with the Hawks, 40 and 39. So again, important game for the Raptors going up against the Celtics team, playing their second of a back-to-back. Man, I don't know if you saw the finish of that Philly game yesterday. They tried to give the Celtics that one.
It sounds like a Philly. Sounds like what the Sixers like to do 100%. Under Doc Rivers, but no, I didn't see it.
All right. Well, Embiid just spectacular. He got the MVP locked up, Adam. Locked up.
Does. I do agree. I don't agree that he should be the MVP. I do agree that he does have it locked up, though.
I wasn't even making that statement as on Twitter. I was just saying, like after that.
Yeah, I knew what you meant.
Yeah, there's just no way. He's minus 750 now.
He was minus 500 when I woke up this morning.
I know I went to bed last night. I was like, let me see this. Right after that game ended, it was 460. And I'm thinking that doesn't seem like that doesn't seem like it's enough. You would think the odds would be a lot shorter on that. 750 now. Yeah, this would be at minus 1,000. I honestly thought it would be at like minus 1,000. But anyway.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like it's over, even though I disagree with what is going to end up being the result.
But we're talking, DF bet. We're talking betting. Like it is.
Yes, I am not at all happy with my plus 140 Jokic anymore.
Not right now. No, not the best value, but I get why you did it for sure. Especially if Embiid ended up missing more games for some reason.
Right. Of course, it just turned into Jokic missing the games I thought Embiid might miss.
For like the first time all season.
Right.
What do you want to do with the Raptors today? Not a great matchup, but it is a very important game.
It's not a great matchup. It is not a team that has a ton of value in terms of pricing either, but they aren't getting much ownership. They are going to play a lot of minutes. They always do. So, they're a decent team to look at in tournaments, but there's nothing that stands out. It's more so just, if you get to some Van Vliet to be different or Pirtle or Siakam or Barnes, all of that is fine, but nothing stands out here. Tough matchup, correct pricing across the board pretty much.
Marv said, Dave swears you don't care about Embiid winning the MVP. I don't, dude. If they get eliminated in the second round, was it you, Jacob, that said this last week that you can't hang an MVP banner in your bedroom? No better way to put it. Can't hang an MVP banner, a Joel Embiid MVP banner in your bedroom. So second round exit. What's that?
You could.
Right, but you would look like it. Oh, you'd look pretty dumb. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Did you see that the Tampa Bay Rays hung a wild card banner?
No, they didn't.
They did.
Oh, those sad souls. Did they really?
They did.
From the rafters of that unbelievably shittily constructed Tropicana field.
Yeah, and I can't decide if it's better or worse because they've actually had success recently. So they have the American League pennant banners and stuff like that. I can't decide if it would be sadder if they were just like the Pirates or something and hadn't done anything in 30 years and then they hung a wild card banner, or just how ridiculous it looks like alongside, like American League pennant banners.
Yeah, it's so bad. I still don't know how you could construct a stadium like that. I'm saying this has driven me insane for a long time. Like, construct a stadium like that, pay like how many millions of dollars to construct that stadium, and then no one thinks like, yeah, we play baseball here. And like, oh, it's a ground rule double if it hits the catwalk. Like, really, how stupid can it get? It's so dumb. Like the big Jerry Dome with the big screen, the punts hitting that. Even that's insane to me that you wouldn't think of these things in advance when you're spending that much money. But yeah, what a horrible stadium. You know what stadium I want to go to though? I don't know if it's still called this. The Rogers Center, or I don't know if it's still the Rogers Center. But
yeah, I don't remember what it is now. I think it might still be the Rogers Center. But yeah, I've been there twice.
You have?
Yeah.
Okay, Center, Centre. It's the Canadian way. They have hotel rooms where they're in the outfield, and you can just open it up in the morning, open it up to the field, which is so cool. Yeah,
I remember Carlos Delgado like hitting balls off of it when he played for Toronto.
Did he? Be pretty sweet though. Just like sleep in as late as you can, wake up, order room service, and watch a baseball game.
Yeah, wouldn't be bad at all. Haven't stayed there, but did know they exist, and it's pretty cool.
Do you like anything for Boston today? And of course, we're waiting on Jaylen Brown. Robert Williams was held out for rest, so he should be good to go. But right now, I think we just have to assume that Williams and Brown are both in.
Yeah, I assume Horford is sitting and that Williams is in. If we assume Jaylen Brown is in, I don't really have anything. If he's out, then Jason Tatum looks better. Still sucked yesterday, but you can't wait that. You just kind of go back to him if Brown is out. But if Brown is in, this team essentially is correctly priced, and the relevant pieces are all playing.
And it just looks like a pretty underwhelming team.
Yeah.
All right. Chicago and Milwaukee. See, some of these games are easy to get to, but Chicago and Milwaukee, where are the prices at? Oh, all these guys came up a bit since yesterday. That's a little bit surprising. Would have thought they'd come down for this matchup and be higher for last game. But yeah, Levine and Vooch are up like 400 or 500 a piece. That's interesting for an 8-game slate. Road dogs, second of a back-to-back against the Bucks. Damn. Anything you like?
Giannis looks good and should be easy to get to again.
Chicago side.
Oh, Chicago side. Giannis still looks good. But no, I mean, Vooch, DeRozan, Levine, all fine. Levine, 8,400, shooting guard, small forward, the easiest one to get to. But pricing, like you said, it did come up a little bit. It's pretty much correct. It's kind of just the way Chicago has been for the entire season.
Okay. Yeah, some of these spots are really underwhelming. And then how about on the Milwaukee side? It's just, and by the way, Grayson Allen's out. Pat Connaughton, I don't know. He left early in that game. Didn't register a stat. I don't know if he'll be playing, but how about Giannis at 26% today against the Chicago team? Nobody else is pulling more than 0.4% ownership, and we assume that Chris Middleton will be back, and he just wasn't playing the first leg of that back-to-back yesterday.
Yeah, I see nothing other than Giannis, as long as the guys that we're expecting to be in are in. If Giannis sits, obviously that changes everything, but assuming that Middleton's back and it's the same guys as yesterday, except maybe for Connaughton, who doesn't matter. Giannis is really all that I'm interested in here. 11-4, he does look very good. Power forward eligibility makes it easy to get to him. We should have plenty of value, most likely, just because of this being a early April slate. So getting to him is going to be pretty easy. But then, 8,800 Drew, not really interested in that with Middleton back, not looking to pay $9K for Middleton. Again, it all changes if they start resting guys here, but assuming that they're in, Giannis is all that I'm interested in.
All right, 4 down, 4 to go. Before we do, though, hey, Bet365, you see it up top. It is exactly as it appears. You bet $1 and you're getting $200 in bonus bets. Actually, yeah, in bet credits. $200 in bet credits on $1. If you actually think about this, and Jacob, I'll throw you something. If you can get it up on the screen, cool. If not, no big deal. But this was something that was very cool to see yesterday. I should have given this to you ahead of time, but I just thought about it now. We had a guy, I told you, I think, whoever, if you guys were watching yesterday, Ginger Hammers, goes, you guys have done some pretty spectacular promos over the years, but I have to tell you this Bet365 is one of my favorites so far. So I click on the image, right? And his win-loss from March 25th to March 31st, so I assume he signed up on March 25th, is $1,446. This dude deposited 10 using the link in the description and in chat. I'm not saying everybody is going to go on a massive heater like this, but if you don't, you're down $1. Went over there. He put $10 in. He used the link in the description in the chat. Like I said, you got to use that if you're looking to get this. He put his $10 in. He bet $1. He got his $200 in bet credits, and he ran it up to 1446 in a week. Again, like, is that going to happen with everybody? No. But if it doesn't happen to you and you go on a horrible run, you just run cold as hell, you're down $1 at the end of the day. So when you're looking at opportunities and saying, hey, why don't I get anything good? It's because you're not taking advantage of the Bet365 promo. Now, here's the catch. It's only in Colorado, Virginia, New Jersey, and Ohio. Colorado, Ohio, New Jersey, and Virginia. If you're in one of those 4 states, don't look a gift horse in the mouth, because there's people in neighboring states that would look at you and say, this guy is good for nothing, asshole, doesn't appreciate what he's been handed. $1 bet, $200, boom, got it. Run it up in the 4 figures like Ginger Hammers. Run it up in the 5 figures. Get set throughout baseball and into the NFL season, or lose it all and be down $1. Who cares at the end of the day? You're getting $200 for free. So check it out. Links in the description and in chat. And plus, Bet365, for those of you that haven't heard of it, pioneered a lot of stuff in the betting space. Like live betting, like in-game betting, Bet365, Trailblazers over there. So they're legit. They've been doing this a long time. And when they came over to the United States, their CEO or one of their head of marketing, someone's like, we know we need to do it right in the United States. If we do it wrong, it's bad. Well, they're doing it right with this. $1 in the 200. Click that link, sign up, put $10 in, only bet one of those and get your money. 200. Must be 21 years or older to gamble. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, please call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. All right. Let's talk Washington and Atlanta here. So Washington, this is one, Adam, where when I was typing up the run sheet, I just said, who knows? I assumed that Porzingis, Beal, and Kuzma are out, but you had DeLon Wright, who was ruled out late yesterday with the illness. You had Monty Morris, who was out. Again, and I say this seriously, who the hell knows with this team today?
Yeah, absolutely no idea. I assume those guys aren't in. I don't know if DeLon Wright will be in or not. If Wright is in, he's fine at 6,400. If he's out, Jordan Goodwin certainly looks even better at 4,700 than he already would. Kendrick Nunn played 22 and a half minutes, had a massive game. He's still only 3,800, probably going over-owned at 44.5%, given that he still only played 22 and a half minutes last game. But there is obviously a ceiling for him, and even more so if DeLon Wright is out. I do not know who the hell Jay Huff is, but he's a $3,200 center who played 27 minutes yesterday and put up a massive game. He is pulling 17% ownership. Daniel Gafford at 6,300, not pulling any. You had Huff backing him up yesterday. Even if Gafford plays 26 minutes and Huff plays 22 at 3,200, that's still reasonable. Kispert should play a lot of minutes, but not a great point per minute guy. Anthony Gill, likely to start, played 22 minutes. He's 3,100. Don't love getting there, but he's cheap. This team's a mess. Xavier Cooks, 3K flat. He played 26 minutes off the bench. He's fresh over from the Australian League, just won a title over there, and I think they're MVP. He's 3K. He could have a good game. I mean, this team's a joke. Johnny Davis played 36 and a half minutes. He had a massive game. He's still only $4,800. There's going to be a lot to get to from Washington, assuming that those main 4 pieces are out. If DeLon Wright is out, it opens up more as far as, Johnny Davis looking better, Nunn and Goodwin looking better. But there's going to be a lot to get to from this team.
Yeah, Goodwin only played, 28 minutes last night? That was a little surprising.
Yeah, pretty surprising. Didn't play a lot in the second half.
Who got the bulk of the minutes yesterday?
Johnny Davis played 36 and a half. Kispert played 34. Those were the only 2 guys that played north of 30 yesterday.
Ew, man, look at that rotation.
Yeah.
The bench, 23 to Jackson, 26 to Cooks, 27 to Huff, 23 to Nunn. That's gross.
Yeah, not a pretty rotation, and nothing to suggest it has to be different today. But a lot of these guys are still cheap enough that they're interesting.
Man, Kispert came down to earth quick, huh?
Yeah, it's crazy how guys that are solely dependent on being low usage, scoring dependent guys can have bad games.
Aren't hitting 9 threes a night.
Right.
Yeah. All right, let's keep this one rolling. There it is. Sun's coming up in Jacob's place. Every time, dude, just crushes him, and he's got to lower the blinds. Yeah, there we go. All right, on the West Coast. What time is it there? 7:40. Yeah, 7:40. All right, man. Well, actually, Adam, you don't wake up early enough. I was gonna say, if you wake up, if you were to wake up early, is it tough for you to wake up? For me, I prefer the sun to be up. Like I have a tough time when it's like 6:30 in the morning and it's those dark months where it's like it's not, the sun doesn't start coming up till 7:20.
Yeah, I prefer the sun to be up. That's what actually got me out of bed today, because like I was just laying there like I want to go back to sleep, and then I was still awake and I knew the sun was coming up. I was like, all right, I'll just make coffee and go sit out on the balcony and watch the sun come up. So that's what actually got me out of bed.
What an experience, though. You're sitting on the harbor watching the sun come up.
Yeah,
pretty nice, dude. You think I'm patronizing you? I'm not. I think
I do think you are, but
I'm not, dude. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
I love nature. I love that stuff, man. I walk the dog every day along the creek as the sun's up and bright and the water's flowing, reflecting off the water. Then we get down, we sit down, we enjoy it. Yeah, dude, I'm all about that. Cleanses the soul.
It was nice. If I didn't hate waking up in the morning, I would do it more often.
Do it tomorrow.
Yeah, getting a good habit.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you're gonna feel great today. Anyway, talk about the Hawks here. Trae Young was ruled out yesterday with that illness. So I think, it was an illness, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know what's going on with him. If he ends up sitting, that could make things interesting. They won that. They handily beat the Bulls yesterday. But let's just assume for a moment that Trae Young is in. And it was like, all right, you don't need to play both legs of a back-to-back if you're not feeling great. Is there anybody that you really like? Like, do you go back to Sadiq Bey today?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on who's in. DeAndre Hunter's missed the last couple of games. If he's out, I assume Bey is starting again. He's 5,500, which would certainly make him a reasonable play if he's starting. Trae Young, if he's playing at 8,700, certainly looks very good at that price tag against this awful team. If he's out, DeJounte Murray looks better, even though he was disappointing yesterday. I'd go right back to him. This game does matter for Atlanta as well. You mentioned it with Toronto, but Atlanta tied with Toronto here. They need this game. So Murray at 7,900, I think is fine, even if Young is in, but he's going to look better if Young is out. Capella at 6,100 is fine in tournaments. So is John Collins. If you were to get Young and Hunter out, you're probably getting Bogdanovic starting again at 5K, which would make him look decent. But there's going to be stuff to like from Atlanta. It's just a matter of who is playing for them.
What did the rotation look like yesterday with Trae out? AJ Griffin played 25.
Yeah, kind of a ugly rotation, but
I was just trying to see what the bench looked like, and then Bogdanovic got 34 as a starter. Murray. Okay.
Pretty normal minutes for the starters, with the exception of Collins only playing 24.
Yeah, and they lost minutes in the blowout as well.
Right.
About 2 minutes. So Murray would have played around 37 in that game. Bey was pacing 36. Not bad.
Yeah, you got a normal center rotation with Capella, and Okongwu was tracking to be like 28 Capella, 20 Okongwu.
Anybody else for Atlanta, or is this just a wait and see approach here?
I think it's a wait and see. Like, there's definitely going to be guys that look good. It's just a matter of how good and what their names are.
All right, Memphis and New Orleans. Nolans. Memphis Grizzlies 5-point dogs on the road, huh? 5-point dogs. Am I seeing that right? Appears they are. Yeah, 5-point dogs, 229 total. Dylan Brooks is questionable here. Do you think Memphis rests any of their starters today?
Wouldn't be shocked, but I don't know. I mean, they're 2 games behind Denver. They're 2 up on the Kings, so they're kind of. I don't think they're officially locked in, but they're looking pretty good. I don't know. I don't have a good feel for what they're doing. I wasn't surprised at all that Brooks didn't play yesterday in a game where they were like 17.5-point home favorites. But I don't really know what to expect from them today. Tillman also got hurt yesterday, I think.
I wonder how much they care about like the 1 or the 3. The
Right.
Warriors are the 5 seed now. Like I would prefer to avoid the Warriors.
Yeah.
But Ben was saying he likes the Kings to beat the Warriors in the first round if they play them, and I'm thinking, all right, man.
Ben is high as shit.
That's what I said. And then he had other people in chat going, but Ben's a super sharp dude, but I just disagree with him here. And other people in chat being like, nah, the Warriors are the Cowboys of the NFL of the NBA. It's like, what do you do? They're reigning NBA champs. Like they coast through the regular season and then they turn it on. And dude, how about this? Sorry, real quick. With the Kings, it's like, yeah, the Kings have offensive firepower, but no defense. The Warriors can lock you down on defense and then have Steph Curry and Klay Thompson raining down threes with Jordan Poole off the bench. Like,
yeah. And the Warriors are the polar opposite of the Cowboys.
Exactly. They
Absolute
don't care
opposite.
about the regular season anymore. And then they explode in I don't know, whatever. But I think if the point was like, oh, the Cowboys look great until they collapse, like, what are you talking?
The Warriors have won more titles this decade than the Cowboys have won playoff games in my life. I'm pretty sure.
I think that's probably true.
If not, it's very close.
They definitely have more titles than the Cowboys have been to like conference championships in our lifetime.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because the Cowboys won when I was 5, so that
not
might
my
not
lifetime. I'm older than you. I was born in '87.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know what they did between 90 and 95. They won in 95, so it's probably not true. But I don't think it was that much of an exaggeration.
But if you're like, yeah, I'm not worried about Klay, a healthy Klay and Curry and Draymond and Looney anchoring that defense with Wiggins coming back and Poole off the bench. Like, whatever. I don't know what to tell you. I'd be a little bit concerned about facing them in the first round.
Yeah, that's a good comp. More like the Sixers.
The Sixers being, for sure. That's a great comp, actually. Yeah. The Sixers, though, at least make it to the second round.
True.
Sixers at least make it to the second round. But the Sixers is actually a great comp for the Cowboys. What cross-sport comps, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we could throw the Capitals in there, too.
Is that what they do?
I mean, they did finally win in 2018, but my entire like college years, the Caps were just the 1 seed dominating the East and then getting bounced in the first round or maybe the second round.
Who would be the baseball comp?
I mean, the Yankees since 2001, kind of.
Kind of, right? I'm not saying they are because I know they won one, but sometimes it feels like the Dodgers recently are that team. Like they're just so dominant, and then haven't they had a couple of years over the past few years where they've just like fallen? Last year they got knocked out in the first round by San Diego.
Yeah. Braves is a good one. Braves is a good one from the 90s.
Yeah, from the 90s.
I mean, like they won one, I think the same year the Cowboys did. And then they kind of did the same thing where they were just like always really good and never won again.
Braves and Dodgers each won one recently, though, right?
Yeah.
And then Houston just won all the others.
Nats won one.
Nats did. Wasn't that a little while ago?
It was 2019.
Oh, okay. Houston gets to a lot of them and lost.
Yeah. The Nats beat Houston.
Yeah. And the Braves did too, right?
Yeah, the Braves won in 2021.
Okay. What do you want to do with the Grizzlies?
Yeah, Giants have won several.
What do you want to do with the Grizzlies today?
So yeah, I mean, it obviously matters who is playing for them, but I'm interested just because of the potential playing time here. Ja Morant, they'd said they wanted to play him more minutes. We actually got a relatively competitive game against Portland last night, and you got 35 minutes again from Morant. You got 36 and a half from Bane. So I'm interested in the upside that these guys offer, since it does appear that Taylor Jenkins is staying true to his word and playing them big minutes. If they're in, I think at low ownership in tournaments, they make some sense. But it really just matters, who is in for this team. We got Luke Kennard getting the start in place of Brooks yesterday. He played 34 minutes, had a big game. Santi Aldama started the second half in place of Xavier Tillman. Tillman did play 3 minutes in the fourth, so maybe he didn't get hurt. I just assume that's why Aldama was starting. But there's moving pieces here like there is pretty much everywhere else. But I think it's very likely that you're going to get a low-owned Memphis team here that just doesn't have priorities, but does have guys that are interesting at low ownership.
Hey, if you haven't hit that thumbs up yet, we're 21 away from 100. Much appreciated for all of you guys who take that single second to atone for your sins here. as Steven said earlier, exercise those demons, atone for your sins. All right, so we got the other side of this one, the Pelicans. Been a pretty fun team lately. Look, the Pelicans aren't a team that I think anyone should be super concerned about facing. Wouldn't love to face them in the play-ins though. I know they lost yesterday, but they've also had a pretty easy matchup or schedule recently, and then every time they face a decent team, they lose. So I retract that statement. But Ingram's been awesome. He's just so expensive now, man. He's almost at 10K on DraftKings.
Yeah, very healthy price tag on him at 9,900, but he is playing big minutes. He is doing everything for this team. Kind of a mediocre game yesterday. Wasn't bad, but didn't quite do what we would like him to do against the Kings, but still played 37 and a half minutes and lost 3 minutes to garbage time. Not a great matchup here against Memphis. Elevated price tag. He is at a weak position, though, and you probably are going to get enough value that it's not going to be that difficult to get to him. This is still a game that the Pels need to win, or at least would certainly like to win. So I expect plenty of minutes from him. Same goes for McCollum at 7,700. We have ownership coming into Herb Jones right now at 4,800, which I do think that's one where right now it makes some sense just because he's likely to play big minutes and he's sub 5K. But as we get injury reports for these teams on back-to-backs and we start getting guys ruled out, I think the Herb Jones ownership goes away, whereas the McCollum ownership and the Ingram ownership stays.
Anybody else for the Pels?
If you want to roll the dice on Joval, go for it. He's probably playing around 28 minutes, but the price tag is relatively expensive.
All right, Sacramento, healthiest team all year long. Joval had a triple-double, I think. Or not Joval, sorry. Sabonis had a triple-double, I think, in the third quarter yesterday. I mean, that guy dominated. The funny thing is, though, it wasn't from a fantasy score, it was just kind of okay. 16, 11, and 12, but only played 32 minutes. Didn't need to play a ton. Any interest in getting there at what is low ownership every day of the week because there's so many other centers that jump off the page?
I'm always interested in the idea of it, and I just never am really able to do it.
Right.
It's probably a little bit easier today since you don't have Embiid, you don't have Jokic. We haven't had a ton of centers that we really love, so maybe a little bit easier. But again, like a 4% chance of being optimal, 4% ownership suggests that it's still probably not a priority. Maybe like if Giannis were to get ruled out and you're not paying up for him, maybe Sabonis starts to look a little bit better in that case. But I think it's tough to get there. I think Fox is easier to get to at 8,200. Barnes and Herter both look fine, but they're guys kind of similar to Herb Jones, where as you start getting players ruled out, you probably start losing interest in Barnes and Herter. Fox probably starts to look even a little bit better, maybe. Sabonis maybe starts to look a little bit better.
So Luka and Kyrie are both probable today. This team is just, straight Norfolk Southern situation in Dallas. Total derailment, right? But you're looking at a situation now where in the standings, you have them 11th on the outside looking in. They're still only half a game back. Lucas said he's playing. I don't know. It's kind of weird to me. Why would you just concede the season when maybe you figure something maybe you go on a run, whatever. They're a half game behind the Thunder for the final spot in the play-ins. And today they are. Did you see the spread on this game, by the way? What do you think the spread is on this game?
I was trying to cheat.
Yeah, don't cheat. Just take a guess. All right, you're cheating, but that's okay.
I do see it. I was going to say probably Kings by 2.
Right. Dallas -6. So,
Dallas by 2, not Kings by 2.
Right. But 6 is a lot of points for this Dallas team. It's a lot of points for the way that they've played lately. So I don't know. Is it must-win game, or are the Kings sitting players? Should we be expecting the Kings to sit some guys? Maybe I'm just reading this completely wrong, but 241 total. Dallas Mavericks 6-point favorites today.
Yeah, and I think they look not very interesting. Luka and Kyrie both look fine, but they are also expensive.
A lot today.
Yeah, I think Luka looks good. 12K is expensive, but you're just getting so many minutes from him in a game that Dallas really has to win. He's played 15 games with Kyrie now. He's still at 1.5 DraftKings points per minute, still has a 35.8% usage rate and nearly a 33% assist percentage. So there's still a massive ceiling. It's still a really good spot. I would prefer him if you were a little bit cheaper, but he's also getting a little bit less ownership than Giannis as a result. So that works in tournaments. For Kyrie at 9,800, he's been at 1.2 DraftKings points per minute in the games with Luka. 26.5% usage rate, 25.5% assist percentage, averaging 38.5 minutes per game. There is still definitely a ceiling there for him, and he's only 5% owned. So decent tournament play, but I get why the ownership is low just because he's so expensive. I don't really see anything else appealing from this team.
Okay. Well, then let's talk about the other. Or what do we got? One game left. Yeah, Luka though. I mean, man, this just feels like one of those games where he could go insane. I might just take the risk on something like that.
It feels like one of those games where Luka could just say, like, screw this. Like, I'm just winning this game.
I'm doing everything. Yeah.
Right.
Like nobody else is touching the ball.
Right.
And if they do, he's getting the assist on it. Yeah. I'm with you on that. All right. Let's wrap it up here. How many people we got hanging? I know it's a weird day. It's a Wednesday. We got baseball today, afternoon baseball. 319. All right. We're 7 away from 100. Also, if you guys are looking to get into some baseball action, which you should be, because no better time than right now. We got MLB Live Before Lock today at 12 noon. So coming up in just about an hour. And if you want to take advantage of the tools, right? The top stacks tool, the top pitchers tool, you're not going to find better tools out there for baseball than these two tools. Just hands down, the preeminent tools out there for daily fantasy baseball, ownership projections, player projections, all of that stuff. The lineup generators coming down the pike as well for baseball, but lineup builder, so much other stuff, all of that, all of our baseball tools, 9 days for $9. So $1 a day. If you're waiting on the sidelines, ready to jump in at a promo with baseball season starting, maybe you missed that 50% off on everything. This is fantastic. $9 for 9 days. It's $1 a day. Link in the description and in chat. So yeah, if you're playing baseball, if you're watching the shows, you're looking for something to give you that edge for the top stacks tool, the top pitchers tool. Those are the two best, but ownership and everything else, right? Like everything out there is $1 a day for the first 9 days. 9 days, $9 gets you 9 days. Link in the description and in chat. So yeah, for those of you playing some baseball out there, jump in on this while we still have it. All right, let's wrap it up. Lakers, Clippers, kind of a fun matchup here because these guys are jockeying for position too. Clippers are sitting 6th. Lakers are 7th. They're both 41 and 38. So kind of a fun matchup here, Adam, given that one of these teams is likely going to have to play in the play-ins.
Yeah. Also a matchup where I have no idea who the hell's playing again because Anthony Davis and LeBron both played yesterday. They need to win, but it's also Anthony Davis and LeBron. So who knows if they're going to play? Yeah. I mean, I assume they will. I don't.
Right. I don't know. Yeah, of course.
Right. Yeah. If they do, I don't think it's very interesting. You know, Davis 10-9 at center. If you get there, great. But LeBron probably the easiest guy to get to, 10K flat, small forward. I think I'd still rather get to Brandon Ingram, but Ingram is getting double the ownership, so certainly can make the case for LeBron there. Also, the game last night went to overtime too, so that's another thing that was just like, you know, what are they going to do here? Because Davis played 42 minutes, LeBron played 39, and then you have the back-to-back. So we'll definitely need confirmation on what exactly they're doing, but assuming everybody is in, not a particularly interesting team. If you get to some LeBron or Davis, fine, but I don't really see anything other than that.
They were up by double digits in the fourth quarter too. And my God.
10-0 run for Utah in the last like minute 40.
Yeah. Look at the lineup that Utah ran out there and took them to overtime.
Yeah. The lineup that went on that run was essentially Horton Tucker, Agbaji, Olynyk, Damian Jones, and Chris Dunn.
Yeah. And Davis and LeBron were both out there for all of it. Reeves, Schroeder, my God. Yep. That's tough.
And Austin Reeves is good out of nowhere.
He's nasty. I was hammering those over assist props on him when LeBron and Russell were out.
Yeah.
Dude, remember when he started those pair like 2 or 3 games before they came back? His assist prop was at like 4.5, and he's seeing 15 potential assists per game. He's a good player. He's a player for sure. Do you think if he continued coming off the bench, he would have a shot at 6 man, or do you think that was Quickly's all the way?
I mean, at this point, I think it's Quickly's all the way. I think it's too late in the year.
Yeah. What about the Clippers side today? Marcus Morris cleared the COVID protocols. And then who else was it? Eric Gordon's questionable as well. But I don't know. This game just looks pretty unappealing from top to bottom.
Yeah, it strikes me as a game that is really entertaining or really, interesting from a real life standpoint, but tough to get a lot of. Kawhi at 10-2, fine, but I'd rather get LeBron. I'd rather get Ingram. Powell's up to 5,500, which you're probably just going to be able to find better value by the time the slate starts. Westbrook's priced up to almost 9K. Zubac's at 5,400. Like, if you want to go there in tournaments, fine, but there's not anything that I'm really prioritizing or confident in.
Yeah, how about that? 11 o'clock, 8 games, even with a little banter early on in the show, we get there. We knock it out.
Yeah, professionals.
We are. We've done this a couple times. Follow Adam at Ship My Money DFS, me at Lafayette_D. Hey, join our chalkboard one last time. We did 5 Bet Pro monthly giveaways yesterday. Chat was going insane. We did trivia questions. And then whoever answered them correctly for the first got it, DM you the promo code, and then you were in business. It was a lot of fun, man. It was a lot of fun. Like, we had one, Greg said, who is the former Cubs pitcher to throw 20 strikeout game, Adam?
Kerry Wood.
Yeah. What active NBA player has scored the most points in a game?
Devin Booker?
I think it's Donovan Mitchell.
Oh, yeah, but Mitchell, I think, did beat him this year.
Yeah. Here's one I asked. What running? Oh, and by the way, guys, it's free. The app is free. It's better than Discord for betting. It's awesome. And all the picks are free and everything. We had a great night last night. Here's one for you. We'll close it out with this. Jacob, feel free to answer it if you know. You're a sports guy too. Shout out to Jacob for producing today. And if you guys know this. All right. What running back has the all-time highest PPR game, right? So fantasy point PPR game. And I'll give you a hint. It happened in 2013 against the Oakland Raiders.
All right, so it's not Tomlinson or Alexander.
Nope.
Those would be my first 2 guesses.
Nope. 2013, highest PPR, not highest PPR performance.
And it's not the Kamara game.
Nope, 2013.
I have no idea.
You got a guess, Jacob? No? My favorite running back of all time. Jamal Charles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Monster game. Truly a monster.
I vaguely remember it now.
Yeah. It was great because Larry Johnson was calling people the F words on Twitter, and then had a big falling out with Todd Haley, and it was a couple of years before that, and Charles took over as the starting running back halfway through the season, had 1,000 rushing yards in 8 games, won everybody their fantasy championship. If he never got hurt, Jamal Charles might go down as the best running back ever.
Yeah, he was so good.
So good. And as a pass catching back. You remember he averaged he averaged for his career over 5 yards per attempt, but he had seasons where it was 5.5, 6 yards per attempt.
Yeah, he was amazing.
It's such a shame those non-contact injuries brought him down. Really a damn shame. Anyway, appreciate you guys. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Smaller slate, 4 or 5 games. Good luck today. Stick around. MLB Live Before Lock coming up at 12. Other than that, we'll see you on the chalkboard, hanging out, throwing some picks out there, shooting the shit, having some fun. Peace.